cool, I can see the recording button. So I'm going to chat that we can delete that and then we can start so we don't have staring faces. Are you good?
I'm good.
Great. Hey, everyone. I'm online. We're using Zoom with my gorgeous friend, Steph. Steph's at home.
Hi.
And we thought we'd just have a bit of a chat to see if we can share some things about working from home. There's a lot of people transitioning to home right now. Just before we jumped on and pressed record, working from home can be so many different things, and it can be at least working from home with kids or without kids. So we're just going to roll and have a chat and see where it goes. But you've worked from home for a little while, Steph?
Yeah, I've worked from home for a long while, doing two different things. So now, obviously, with life coaching, working from home, but in an earlier previous life, because I'm so old and wise now, I studied architecture and I had a building design business, and I have that whole side of experience. And so that was a lot of drafting from home and just not as much client engagement, but mostly just me and my computer. And that was pre-kids, and life coaching post-kids. And so yeah. I think if you're new to working from home, you can read every blog under the sun that wants to tell you about it and how to do it. But I think you need to go, okay, who's writing it? Do they have kids or not? Because that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
And so you've got two gorgeous kids right now and a newborn.
I do.
So they're sort of like
in the miracle hour of them both being asleep.
So, and I love that you're so generous that you're going to share some things in that moment, because that's the moment, whether you're working from home or just being a mum, that's the moment everyone says, you got to sleep when they're asleep, or you've got to take time out when that happens. And of course, none of us really do.
Yeah.
So thank you for using this magic moment with us. What's the number one thing that you do to keep yourself joyful while you're working from home? Because I think it can be all sorts of different things, but how do you stay happy?
Okay, that's a really good question. One main one for me. So I'm like a almost off the charts extrovert. So I have to have it worked into my day somewhere that I'm connecting with somebody. So yep. I actually normally start the day, she's pretty much my office buddy, but I pretty much call my mum every morning, just like, great. What's happening in your home office? But yes, she recently got a kitten. So now Everett kind of steals those conversations and just wants to see Bertie the cat. But I check in with her first, get my dose, and then, knuckle down. But number two, I'm really big on dressing how you want to feel. So if I am feeling sluggish and stuff like that, I'll often like look down and be like, oh yeah, that's because you're in your dressing gown, Steph. That'll do it. So, so it's like, this top, this is a happy top for me. This is like bright, sunny. Let's do things. Let's feel happy. So those two things, connecting, dressing how I want to feel, and being outside as much as I can, is the other thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I think that getting up and getting dressed is a little bit about habits and about structure.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people talking about the importance of having structure. If you're going to be home way more than you used to be, you've got all this time. So how to break it down into small pieces and variety. What are some of your tips on variety through the day?
Variety through the day. Well, with kids working from home, you all have so much variety. You never know what each moment's going to hold. But I suppose variety on a day, say, where you don't have distractions around, variety comes from what you're actually, what your objective is for that day. So, and that's probably another key thing. If we go right back to the very start in terms of working from home, it's having a really clear idea of what you want to get out of your day, because your days can very easily, your morning routine where you used to jump in your car and break, shift your mindset and you're in work mode, you don't get that opportunity anymore. So now you have to create that. So yes, you need to set your intention for the day. So instead of thinking about it on your way to work, you need to replicate that in a different way. I'm not saying go sit
And
in your car in the driveway, but if that's what works for you, then you're good.
So, that's really interesting. So we've got a variety of personalities in our house, and we've all grown up with different influences and doing things in a really different way.
Mm-hmm.
And my cluster in the family, we actually have this thing that works really well for us, and it's just normal for us. And when someone else sees it, they're like, what are you doing? But we hang out in the car. We actually do hang out in the car.
I love that.
So yesterday, Zach's 15. He's working towards his learner's license, and we're going through the book from Service Tasmania.
Right.
And we've allocated 15 minutes a day to go through the book and learn the rules. And yesterday it was like, okay, variety, structure, habits, consistency. We're doing that 15 minutes a day in the car. So we went out and sitting in a car behind the warmth of a windshield with the sun on it.
Yeah.
We just sort of like, after we'd finished our 15 minutes, it's like, let's hang out here a bit longer. We didn't turn the car on. We didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think finding a variety of spaces. I was online having a chat with my beautiful mate Vanessa, also about working from home and working from home from kids. And we were talking about actually stealing quiet moments. And that classic thing of, pretending to sit on the toilet and closing the door, or having an extended shower just to escape. So sometimes
absolute luxury. Yeah.
Okay. So with that setting an intention, do you have things that you do regularly and consistently in terms of maybe Sunday night setting up your week, of a night before you go to bed setting up the next day, or what does setting an intention mean?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's like big picture vision that starts at the beginning of the month. So, okay, what do I want to achieve? So being a sole practitioner, it's just me and my business. So I do get the luxury of setting my pace. For those who work with a bigger company or organization, you can still project forward your month, but things are probably likely to shift around and have to work around people, your colleagues a bit more. But for me, it's, okay, what do I want to achieve this month? What does that mean if I break it down, I have to achieve each week? And then I actually love the app Todoist.
Okay.
Really,
I haven't
really
heard
good
of that.
app. Oh, if you love ticking things off a list, you will love Todoist. It's so good. It helps me organize my brain. It's fantastic.
So when we load this video on Facebook, let's put that in a link to that app in the comments below.
It's such a good app.
I'm keen for that.
You can have as many categories as you want. Sometimes I have to just control myself and calm down my categories because I just can get too detailed in it. But for me, so what I do is, how you have the things on your list that you either do them because they're just so easy and you do a million easy things and you're like, yeah, I'm amazing. But then you end up feeling a bit rubbish because you actually didn't do like the meatier things on your list because you danced around them and for whatever reason. So,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I know you couldn't relate. I'm sure everybody listening can't relate, but I have this thing where that happens to me. So what I do is, there's a whole bunch of different strategies around that. But for me, I know that I'm a really visual person. So instead of seeing words on a list, I actually put like a little like color block emoji on there. And so I've fully just gone traffic light. So it's like green has to be done. Might not even be a massive task, but it's like, do this one. Orange is like, yeah, it needs to be done, but no rush. Red is like, if you keep doing all these red ones, that's a really bad life choice. Stop doing all the red ones because I can see them on my list. It's like extra accountability. So
I like it.
So I've just been, and then that's working with kids is if I was at my home office, if I was in an office without children, I reckon I could get like 3 or 4 of these chunky green tasks off my list. But then you go, okay, we're not in an office. We're at home with these like fantastic little people, colleagues who are popping into your cubicle to talk to you every few seconds. And so it's like realistically, I can do maybe 1 green and 1 orange today. And if I do that, I've done well.
I like that because there's a couple of things out of what you just said. People finding apps that work for them right now is going to be such a life changer and give ease into the day. So trying out different apps, because not the same app doesn't work for everybody.
No,
but like us using Zoom Being able to practice with friends as well about using some of this new technology, I think is really cool. So that's the first thing. The second thing is permission not to like overachieve right now. There is so much going on. I've seen some great humour, but it's actually also really useful things from, say, people that have been homeschooling forever and all of a sudden are sharing. Don't expect 6 to 8 hours of schoolwork out of someone. Don't expect to be able to do that well straight up. Don't expect things to, don't expect too much of yourself. Step up, absolutely, and find joy in how you're going to do things, but give yourself permission to understand your work rate momentarily is going to be different.
Absolutely. We're all adapting to a new normal on so many levels. So there's the career level, but there's also that emotional level and all of that on a spiritual level. Like there's so much going on. So it's like, and I'm sure employers are understanding that and feeling that too, and being gracious with their employees who are working from home and adapting. So take some of that time to just be kind to yourself and try a bunch of stuff and see what works for you. And if you, and I just think, obviously being a life coach, I'll say this a million times a day, but like self-awareness is absolutely key. Like if you want to successfully work from home, you have to be prepared to try something and acknowledge that it's not working. And you need to be able to be clear enough on what's going on to identify what is working so that you can go, excellent, keep doing that, cut that out, try something different here until you kind of, you rein it in and you'll eventually get a smooth sailing of it.
And I think that's really important. You talked about setting intentions, but the other thing that I haven't done consistently recently, but I'm re-implementing now, is also having moments of reflection each evening. And I ask myself that question: what worked, what didn't, what can I do better tomorrow? And we're all going through massive learning, but sharing that with each other and sharing how we do that and what we're doing, I think, helps each other along at this journey right now. You talked about...
hold on. I'm going to interrupt you because I think there's a really good piece there that if you're experiencing working from home for the first time, chances are, you've got a visitor. Hi.
Hello.
If you're working from home for the first time, chances are a whole bunch of your friends are too. So maybe that second, if you need external motivation or if you need...
Hang on till Dave said it's ready. We've been cooking bread at home. I don't know if you can hear the little beep, beep, beep.
I can hear the beeping.
But the second loaf of bread is ready, and that means that we're going to go and make some fruit buns because Gussie's on a promise that after this loaf of bread is done, we're going to make some fruit buns.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So you said, hold there, there's a good idea. What was that?
Yeah. So if you're working from home for the first time, chances are you have friends doing the same. And they are probably trying to navigate it as well and could use someone to very openly, bounce all their ideas off of what's working, what's not working. So if you're like finding you're not self-disciplined enough to do that rigorous check-in at the end of every day, like just have like even if it becomes your, that signifies an end to your day, a call with a friend who also works from home. And maybe that's your knockoff phone call of like, hey, how did you go today? What worked for you? Oh, this happened for me, blah, blah, blah. And you can bounce ideas off each other.
And it's amazing how receiving and giving that support is a gift to both persons. So I've got this really great friend at the moment that's sending me a text every morning at 7 a.m. I've slipped on some of my habits, and there's a habit that I want to reinstigate at that time. And she does it. It's really important to her. And so as she's doing it in the morning, she's just shooting me a text. And it's like, they say 21 days to form a habit or whatever it is.
I'm so sorry. There's a dance party behind you. So good.
I love it.
So good.
21 days to form a habit.
Yeah.
And she's sticking with me. And some days I can send her a text and say, I beat you to it.
Yes.
And other days it's like, oh my goodness, if I didn't get that text, there's no way I would have remembered.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a really beautiful thing that comes out of this time, is that we're relearning a whole bunch of ways to work together and collaborate. And hopefully they're skills and qualities that we take with us, once all of this passes.
Yeah, it does feel like there's I mean, obviously there's a lot of heartbreak at the moment. Today is Tuesday. Yesterday in Tasmania, tens of thousands of people lost their jobs or closed their business.
Yeah.
And I really want to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a lot of correction going on across the world right now, and returning to these, you know, beautiful, consistent habits and sharing with friends and spending more time talking to friends and reconnecting with people and going back to what's important.
Yeah.
Is going to serve us well moving forward.
Yeah. And if you don't look for the silver lining, what are you looking at?
Someone shared a quote last night, and I can't remember who first said it, so apologies for not being able to acknowledge it, but they said something along the lines of, leadership is the delivery of hope. Like, leadership's about hope. And so right now, through all of the really tough times and the challenging times and the times where we're moving into the unknown, we're doing things for the first time, like working from home, spreading hope and remaining positive and finding those moments to be grateful is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in light of, talking about the current climate of everything going on with COVID-19, I think it's another important thing when you're working from home, you are going to need to switch off social media and things like that to focus and concentrate and stay in an effective zone and way of thinking.
And I think we talked about structuring a day and not necessarily being able to get through as much as maybe you would have in an office environment. Yeah. And one of the things that I've gone back to is what I call, it's not a very fancy word, chunking. You're breaking things down into small parts. And I used to religiously set my phone to 15-minute blocks, and I'll be like, okay, I'm doing this. I learned from a mate who is extraordinary at what she does, that in fact multitasking is just hopeless. It's just like laser pointed focus, and if you can do anything for 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, that's the way to get through things. And so I'm returning to that right now as well. And one of the things that I did yesterday, my chunk was only 2 minutes, but I stood outside and allowed the sun just to warm my back. Yeah, that's so good. Recharge the batteries by the sun, and just that sensation of warmth on your back. Yeah. And so breaking things down into chunks, but a variety of chunks as well. Yes. Is really important.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of that, and speaking of working from home and commitments and intentions, one of the things that I have to do today is make fruit buns. So can I say thank you so much for sharing all of those insights today. I think as we move through these next weeks and what will be months ahead, people sharing the skills and advice and the learnings that they've got with others is going to be really valuable in a community the size of Tasmania, where we're really deeply connected, supportive, kind, and, just great. Tasmanians, we're great. Yeah. Have you got a little climber?
I've just got my own visitor. It's not a little visitor. It's my husband.
Is he going to dance in the background for us?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Look, at that moment, can I just say thank you so much for jumping online and sharing. I love having our chats. I love having you in my life. The things that I've learnt from you, observing you live your life, I'm really grateful for. And I'm grateful that we've had this opportunity to share that online today as well.
Same goes. Thank you. And I just hope everyone's feeling encouraged and empowered. I think that we're all in this together, where we can all do a good job of it if we pull together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to let you go and have lunch with your husband. And I'm going to ask you, this is a really funny way to finish. And so it's very unstructured, but we'll press end to the recording and catch up again at another time.
Yes. Sounds magnificent. See you later.
Stay positive, everyone. Bye.
Bye.